So we have Bitcoin literally only 8% away from touching that $100,000 mark. And we suspect that that's going to bring massive retail FOMO into the markets as soon as we cross that huge six-figure target, which we have for Bitcoin. In today's show, I'm going to show you the easiest way that you can make 40x gains in crypto. And this is not clickbait. We've actually done it multiple times, 100x's, 200x's, 1000x, and even as of today, a 2000x gain, believe it or not. I'm going to show you how that can be done in crypto, how you could make outsized, life-changing returns within these markets, because you're seeing a lot of these coins pump on the daily. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. We have so much that we need to discuss in today's show, and I'm going to show you how I've done it time and time again, how I've put in these multiple 100x gains within one sector that is disrupting absolutely everything. So again, guys, smash the like button. Let's get straight into the show content over here. Looking at the Bitcoin monthly chart just as a gauge and a proxy to see, are we still on the right track? Are things still healthy? Are we still okay? Or should we be taking profits? Which is starting to become a little bit of a theme within the markets at the moment. And as per my analysis, the answer would be absolutely not. This is a very, very powerful, strong monthly candle, leaving a range, and we're looking at rapid expansion, and I do expect continuation from this point. So Bitcoin at $91,975, holding up at that key level. Very, very, very important. We've tagged the 1.618 from the at least initial move that we had over here when you anchor from the prior cycle high to the cycle low, the 1.618 fib extension, which is a more significant one, would be at least $102,000. So I'm at least waiting for that point to see how the market reacts over there. For now, everything is looking strong, but there's no doubt we are in extreme greed, right? But we have seen historically that the biggest gainers and biggest moves tend to occur when this market moves into extreme greed, right? That's where you get a trend in motion. And this is a trend in motion. The trend is your friend till the end. And we can look at the underlying factors, right? Like lifting the hood or the bonnet of a vehicle to see what's actually underneath. What's this car made of? Are things still healthy? And one of the things that we can look at under the hood is the 7-day moving average daily exchange volume. Is there new money constantly flowing into exchanges? If so, then it means there's fresh liquidity, fresh meat, and there is opportunity within the markets. And we wanted to see this updates every week. So we needed the weekly close to see, is it still trading up? And the answer is absolutely yes, it is. You can see this now ticking up to new yearly highs, right? 117 billion, taking out the highs that we had earlier on in March, where Bitcoin topped out at $74,000. And we want to see this volume continue to just flow into exchanges. This shows retail market participants are slowly starting to dip their toes back in, and that starts to bring a flood of new money. And then we tend to see trend continuation. So all in all, everything is looking really, really healthy over there. We do have support from the volatility indicators on Bitcoin on the left, Ethereum on the right-hand side. And in actual fact, this is signifying that there's still a whole lot of momentum left within the market. So personally, I prefer to use, not only subjective measures like trying to gauge the sentiment of what the market is doing at a given point in time, but also objective measures. And this would be an example of an objective measure. If the Bollinger Bandwidth percentile were trading up in these highs over here, or at least in the top 25% of this trading range, which would be in this zone over here, that's probably when we'd start to get a little bit cautious and line that up with the sentiment factors. So it does feel a little bit FOMO-y within the market right now, but using the objective measures, you can see, well, Ethereum is actually only just in the first quarter of this range, right? First quarter over there, second quarter over there, third quarter, I start to get a bit cautious in the third quarter, and then the fourth and final quarter coming in on the top side over here, whereas Bitcoin is trending somewhere between the first and second quarter, approaching that halfway point, which shows still a lot of momentum, a lot of juice left in the tank. And personally, I'm not too worried, right? As you can see over here, we actually, in the prior two cycles, tended to put in the biggest part of the parabolic move leading into this phase, which we suspect is going to lead into next year, right? Sometime in Q1. So all in all, it's looking good. Here's your 4-year moving average on Bitcoin. Very, very healthy, very strong, one of the best performing asset classes of all time. This is powerful, right? Very, very powerful. We can also have a look over here at the open interest of the crypto futures, which constantly keeps ticking up, right? Bitcoin up, Ethereum up over there. If we look at Solana, which is about to test all-time highs, maybe we'll even see that this week, right? Solana, huge tick up over here in the open interest. And the question is, Is it overheated? That is the big question, right? Is it overheated? Well, of course, we can look over here at the funding rate average close. And based on the funding rate average close, you can see that the little green markings that we have down here are still very, very low, right? We're nowhere near what we saw firstly in March, and we're especially nowhere near what we saw in the peak of 2021. If you look at my cursor over here, we have a lot left to go. So it's all in agreement with what we're seeing with the BBWP, the Bollinger Band with percentile, suggesting a lot of momentum, right? A lot of momentum could still be coming back into the market. We can use the funding rate heat map to assess the rest of the altcoin sector, and it's still looking okay. So in today's show, I'm going to also show you how I utilize all these various different tools to try and get into these 50x, 100x, 200x, even sometimes as high as 2000x gains. And I have the timestamps to prove it, right? Which I'm going to show you in today's show. So stay until the very, very end. All in all, I think it's looking okay. Now is probably still the time to be looking for strong altcoins, specifically strong meme coins. I'm going to show you why. And I think there's a lot of room left within this move, and the parabola is only just getting started, right? So if we have a look at this over here, this has been the USDT. It's been one of the indicators that's a little bit scary, because if we do get a spike up from this historical 7-year level, where every year on the vertical lines that are running down the screen, we tend to bounce off of this trend line, right? And every bounce off this trend line has created a major top within Bitcoin. So we thought, well, what if it happens this time again, right? And it is possible. It's still possible. But at the end of the day, as long as we keep consolidating within this pink box over here, this is most likely going to be a distributive pattern where you're going to be looking at a breakdown lower. And if we do get that breakdown lower, this is going to break down Bitcoin dominance. And then we're going to see a flood of new capital coming into the market. And it's all in agreement, right? This is why we're using all these various factors to track what's actually happening under the hood. And if we track what's happening under the hood, the volume is going up over here, which is increasing the probability and likeliness that you may actually see, let's go back to that chart, a breakdown of the USDT dominance over there. So stay tuned. Where do we invalidate? Every good trader will always have an invalidation. And in fact, you can't even call yourself a trader unless you always know where your stop is, where your entry is, and where you at least intend to take some of your profits off the table, right? So in terms of looking at this as a trade setup, well, your stop loss would be coming in over here where the X is. This is a little bit of a grind area that led to acceleration down. If we were to see the USDT dominance break and start to close above 4.88, then we can suggest that the same thing as always is happening, and we may be putting in a local top for crypto, but that's not the case yet. And don't confuse local top with cycle top, right? Local top just simply means a pause or shorter term correction within the market. A cycle top suggests the end of the crypto cycle. And I'm definitely nowhere near calling anything like that as it currently stands. I think there's so much opportunity within these markets, and you guys have the chance to make life-changing gains. Now, you don't want to fumble the ball by jumping in and out of the market too quickly. There's a time and a place to jump in and out, and then there's a time and a place to establish your positions, sit on your hands and enjoy the ride and hold through. This is the latter time right now, right? We can see over here that when we utilize something as simple as the 21 weekly exponential moving average over here, then when we do start to breach above it and hold it and it's angled towards the upside, oftentimes we may overextend away from that yellow line, that being the exponential moving average, and price then goes parabolic, rallying all the way to new heights, right? So if we go and have a look at the price action right now, we are pretty extended. One of the metrics and gauges that I'll utilize to determine when maybe it's a bit too late to be putting new chips on the table, i.e. buying into the crypto market, and I should rather consider taking some chips off the table and profit taking, is when we get extreme overextension away from the 21 weekly exponential moving average. But what sort of objective measure can you utilize to determine what an overextension would look like, right? Well, right now we overextended by about 31%, and fair enough, it is pretty high, but what typically will happen over here is as you remain overextended from this point in time, you're likely to see price action slowly catch up. So if we grab this over here, or you're likely to see the 21 EMA slowly catch up over here to at least, let's just quickly see if our drawings are not working over here. We're going to have to refresh that. But slowly you'll see the 21 EMA catching up to the Bitcoin price over there. There it is, like that. As per the little yellow drawings over here, you should see this running up alongside price as price remains overextended, right? This is why when you see a sideways consolidation following a big move, it's incredibly bullish because you start to see moving averages catch up, which add additional support. So what objective measure can we utilize? Well, I tend to use this. It's called the short-term bubble risk. And what it simply does is it measures the ratio of the price and the 20-week simple moving average. I'm using the 21 exponential moving average on a weekly, but nevertheless, it's going to be very similar, right? It's like splitting hairs. The difference between the 20-week SMA and the 21 EMA is only marginally different. Now, what we're typically looking for is extreme overextension to the point where we reach beyond 2, right? When you reach beyond 2, that's typically where you put in those cycle tops. If we throw it in over here, this is extreme overextension away from the mean. Have we seen that yet? And the answer is absolutely a resounding no. Have we seen 1.7 to 2 yet? And absolutely not. We haven't. Have we seen 1.5 to 1.75? And the answer is yes. We've only just started to move into that territory as it currently stands. And if you look historically, this is where the parabolic advancements tend to take place. So we're waiting for the transition from yellow. Yellow is kind of your everything is following exactly according to plan analysis. And as you start to move from the yellow into the dark yellow and the orange, that's probably where you want to start to, or at least stop putting money into the market and consider taking some profits. When you hit the deep oranges, the 1.75 to above 2, that's a strong profit taking zone. And best be sure that I will outline when that is the case. So stay tuned, right? Continue to follow me and follow the show for the rest of the bull run. I will help you to identify when we are in these time periods and you are looking to take money off of the table, right? So another metric that you can utilize to determine when to get out, as per Melo, I think this is some sound advice. I don't think it's the only thing you should look at, but sell everything when Coinbase is #1 on the App Store, not just in the finance apps, but all apps. You see crypto news on Instagram. Remember, Instagram's typically not that crypto friendly. In fact, they've blocked my account multiple times, but I do have a new one. If you do want to follow me, there's a link below. We're actually, by the way, on Instagram, we'll be doing some, let's just see, is it in here? There should be, there it is. On Instagram, we'll be doing some Q&A sessions in the future. So make sure you follow me there if you are looking to participate in those Q&As. There are my socials, both Instagram and Twitter, right? So those are some of the things we look at. Other things we look at, random TikTokers are trading meme coins. We're getting close to that point, but since I firmly believe this is a meme coin super cycle and memes are going to lead the entirety of this market, I don't consider that too much of an abnormality. I just think it's when a huge majority of the TikTokers start talking about meme coins, people whose content are usually something completely different to anything wealth or finance related, and they're talking about cryptocurrency and trading memes, that becomes a major red flag, right? Everyone around you speaking about crypto in grocery stores and at the gym, etc. Remember, a common thing that people use to defend that statement is they'll say, well, of course, crypto is a growing asset class, so wouldn't it be normal that these guys are starting to speak about it? I can tell you for sure it's not. When those guys are flexing their P&Ls and showing their friends, you know, that's probably a big warning sign. People are texting you for advice. You may already start to get that. I would take this a step further and say that if you're the crypto bro that's always been in the markets, always watching the markets, and those people instead say they want to give you money to trade for them, that's probably the bigger red flag, right? Everyone is making money. And most importantly, we can add an extension on that. Most people are making huge money, especially within the altcoin sector, seeing double-digit gains on the weekly, right? That is when the market will likely top, when you start to see these kinds of signs. So those are some of the signs and symptoms that you don't want to look out for. We're not quite there yet, and there is opportunity for parabolic advancements. In actual fact, a lot of the market are constantly trying to fade this move. When I looked earlier this morning, the long to short ratio was 49 to 51%. And every time we see that, there is a repricing where you get a big spike towards the upside, taking out those short traders. And we can actually tell based on this yellow band over here, this refers to the amount of liquidation leverage situated in the form of stop losses or liquidations. If price were to spike up into this $92,225 level, you're going to take $40 million worth of traders out of the market, short traders specifically, in the form of stop losses or liquidations. They're trying to short the market on high leverage, thinking they're getting the Pico top. And usually this ends very, very badly for the short traders. So we'll keep an eye on that as this is still a strong, powerful trend in motion. And within the next week, very, very good chance to see Bitcoin trading at that $100,000 mark with literally only about 8% left to go before we get there, right? So breakout out of a long-term range. Please do remember and always understand that the longer the range that you build up over here, the bigger the breakout when that breakout actually does occur. And if I give you something comparative, you know, this was a much shorter term range level that we had over here. And look at what happened when we broke out, right? Massive move. How far are we in comparison to that? Probably only about halfway, which means things can get really heated since this was an even longer term range level consolidation before the breakout. Plus, we have back then we didn't have the halving cycle yet. Now we've had the halving cycle, and we know that the parabolas tend to occur following that halving cycle. So all in all, Bitcoin on the daily looking really, really strong over here. We've given you the levels. We said, you know, the high probability by the dip zone would be if you get lucky enough to have a dip down into $85,000. That's probably going to be absorbed very, very quickly. Please understand and remember that the longer that price moves sideways over here, the higher the buy the dip targets become, right? Because everything rises. The longer bulls can defend price sideways, the higher those support by the dip zones become, right? The people waiting for low prices are forced to just keep raising their entries, right? They keep raising and raising their limit orders, and price tends to run away from that point, right? Which is why we spoke about this months ago, months and months ago. We were establishing all of those positions. I gave you a chance every single step of the way. Remember, this is where we initially went long in the cycle on this candle over here where Bitcoin was at $17,100. We were all in literally from that point in time, and we continued to scale up. We had the USDT peg. I gave everybody another opportunity over there, suggesting this is an incredible buy the dip opportunity. And so the story continued. We spoke about the importance of 25K and why this was not going to break down because you're forming a strong range reclaim. And then we went into a markup. We spoke about it every step of the way, right? We spoke about it again at 39K. We spoke about the buy the dip opportunity on this wick over here as per the Wyckoff accumulation schematic, suggesting this is your spring phase, right? Why? Because price came into incredibly high volume when we hit this area. You saw this big volume spike, and that showed, right? Time to get invested into the market. So I'm constantly trying to provide the latecomers with new opportunities, and at least the best tip that I can give you is probably forget about Bitcoin, right? You're going to have to start to move to some of the altcoins. This is going to be where the next best gains are made. I'll give you some of those opportunities in the moment. The reason some of the best gains are going to be made there is because yet again, we still don't see ETH BTC making any sort of a bounce, which shows that you're not necessarily too late when it comes to the altcoin market. In fact, you have ETH BTC coming down to put in new cycle lows, right? Absolutely terrible. It's getting crushed, absolutely annihilated over here. But there are a couple of coins that are not getting crushed, and because of that, there's huge opportunity over there. You also had ETH USD rejecting from the mid-range level on the weekly time frame key zone over here. That's $3,445. I'm going to give you on the low time frames on the daily the best places where you can gain some exposure for ETH USD, but I do still think that by the end of the cycle, you will see ETH USD take out these previous all-time highs and, in fact, trend into price discovery. Where could a price target be for ETH? You know, anywhere above $8,000. I reckon it will hit at least $8,000, and you'll see the ETH BTC ratio trading also all the way back towards these previous highs. Whether it breaks into price discovery or not remains unknown, but I do think you'll hit those levels. And consequently, I've actually been scaling into some positions, right? Some are slightly down, some are up. I've got Rendo over here currently, up 133%, so $5,700 of profit over there. I'm up on Zeus as well. We're up 56% on that trade. Prime, which is a little bit of exposure to the gaming sector. This one's down, but I'm scaling in. I'm kind of dollar cost averaging into that. We have Vulcan Forge, also only 2% down, also still planning to scale into this trade. I still think it's relatively early. We have Jasmy, one of the meme coins that we dropped on this channel about sometime last week, up 19% over there. So decent gains over there, still building a position, looking for higher prices. If you do want to follow along, by the way, there is an amazing opportunity where when you sign up now to most of these exchanges, they're actually offering a 10% rebate on trading fees, right? So cash back on trading fees going forward. It's a great opportunity for those of you who do want to reduce your trading fees. Use the link in the description below. The good news is that if you scroll down, not only that, there's a lot of incentives over here for those of you who want to be a whole coiner. What is a whole coiner? A whole coiner is where you can own one full Bitcoin. Believe it or not, many people don't have one full Bitcoin. They joined into the market cycles late. If you want to win one full Bitcoin and you do sign up to Bybit, you can also come through to the Banter Bubbles page and you can guess the price of Bitcoin. The closest guess by the 1st of January will win one full Bitcoin. Each of these exchange signups that you take will be an entry per week into the Winner Bitcoin competition. But not only that, you'll be entered into the Banter Bags giveaway. So if you can just put up the Banter Bags giveaway for us over there, hardest. Banter Bags giveaway, what is it? Ultimately, we invest in seed round investments. Seed round investments are early phase projects that retail participants cannot get into. We put $1,000 into each. We'll probably go into about 30, 40, 50 of these over the course of the cycle. By signing up using the exchange links below, you automatically entered into this giveaway. We give the bags away towards the end of the cycle, and typically each of those $1,000 investments go up anywhere between 100 and 1,000x returns, which means the bags are worth millions of dollars, right? So a massive opportunity for you. That's not the point of the show. The easiest way to make 40x gains. That's not the point of the title. I'm actually going to show you really how you can do it, but this is just another way, right? That's a secondary way that you can get exposure to those 100x and 1,000x gains, literally completely risk-free. Sign up to the links in the description below over there. All right, let's continue. So Banter Bags giveaway. Now, this is where the real juice comes in. This is actually where the real money will be made. This was the old money flow system and the way that crypto typically followed, right? We always saw Bitcoin pump. On the left-hand side is your old money flow, right? Bitcoin always used to pump. It used to outperform everything until a certain point in time. Then Ethereum used to start to do better than Bitcoin, outperforming Bitcoin back and forth. They would chop about and it would be a race between the two, right? And then eventually you just saw complete outperformance by Ethereum and all the gains and the money flowed from Bitcoin into Ethereum. And consequently, people used to be forward-looking, constantly looking to the next thing and the next thing. And then you saw this natural flow of money going from Bitcoin into ETH, into large caps, and then you had full-blown altcoin season, which were the medium cap coins. In terms, when I say cap, for those of you, I'm talking about market cap. So if you go to CoinGecko or Coin Market Cap over here, and you're looking at the market cap of the coins, well, you can see Bitcoin's at 1.8 trillion, Ethereum's at 376 billion, and so you go down the list, right? Solana at 114 billion. Now, the theory is ultimately that the larger the market cap of a particular coin or project, the harder it is to move the needle, right? Makes sense, of course. So if something is $1.8 trillion, it means you need about another $2 trillion to flow into Bitcoin in order to make this go up double, to twice, to 2x the current valuation, right? So usually people will go further and further down the list looking for smaller and smaller market cap coins. So these lists are arranged in order of their market cap. So the further you go down this list, the riskier it becomes, but the higher the potential is for profits, right? And so this was the natural, at least progression of these cycles. But this cycle, we're seeing something completely different. And a lot of it's got to do with the venture or vulture capitalists within the market. The vulture capitalists are those VCs that come in with exorbitant amounts of money and they're buying up the projects at a very, very early phase, right? Now, the market's caught onto this and understood that it doesn't have a good edge because there's these vesting schedules where the venture capitalists release the tokens that people got at, let's say, 300, 400, 500, even 1,000x less than what the retail are getting. And they were utilizing the retail as an exit strategy, right? Exit liquidity, as the saying goes, bring in new, fresh meat and sell your coins to them and throw them out of the market, right? So now we've seen a shift within the market. The market now had Bitcoin run first. Then we saw Solana due to its massive use case, specifically within the meme coin sector. And we saw Doge breaking out. Doge started to outperform Solana now. And then you're looking at the large cap memes, then full meme coin season. And then maybe some of that towards the end of the cycle, the speculation is it will flow back into Ethereum. So this is genuinely how I've made 100x gains 1000x gains and even a 2000x gain as of today, which I'm going to show you that with a timestamp to prove it in just a moment, right? And the way that I did this is ultimately by analyzing Bitcoin so thoroughly, the way that we have been for years now on this particular show. Again, guys, my show's the Kyledoops show, in case some of you don't know who I am. I've invested in thousands of different projects. My current portfolio is about 100 different projects strong, and most of them have been in very, very strong trending coins, right? Strong trending coins that have relative strength against the rest of the market. And this is how we've made life-changing gains. So step one, identify where Bitcoin is cyclically within the cycle, which we do all the time on the show. Identify how much upside potential still remains. Then identify the strongest layer ones, and then invest heavily into the lower cap coins or the meme coins within that sector. And that's exactly what we've done, right? So a lot of people are still fading this approach. And consequently, they have a lot of cope, right? Cope means coping mechanisms to what's exactly going on. Fred Krueger, one of them, great analyst, great trader, great, at least OG within the space, but unable to adapt to the current times. And this is something that I learned the hard way in the previous cycle. It's oftentimes called the most hated rally. And I believe the meme coins will provide the most hated rally with the biggest gains. And I'm going to give you some of those coins today, right? He says meme coins are stupid, including meme coins on BTC. He's, of course, a BTC maxi, right? You have the opportunity to buy Bitcoin and you buy dog. Are you insane? So Udi comes in, who this is also an OG within the space, right? Somebody that's heavily involved with Bitcoin, specifically with Taproot. And he says, evidently, they're not insane. The price went up enough to make you upset about it. So maybe they know what they're doing. No, wrong. Do you call yourself a Bitcoiner? More cope coming in, right? Therefore, I think this is going to be the most hated rally. It's going to continue to occur, and we've seen it cycle after cycle. Every cycle, there's something that causes the most hated rally. I think last cycle was probably Luna, which ultimately, of course, did collapse, but we saw the most ridiculous gains we've ever seen within Luna and all the protocols that were built on Luna. And consequently, I think this cycle is going to be the meme coin sector. And you can look at that meme coin search interest over time, absolutely spiking to new highs, right? So the trend is your friend till the end of the trend. The point is over here, I use a systematic approach to determine when Bitcoin is entering into incredibly risky environment. And when it does, we start to take the chips off the table. We spoke about some of the things that we can look at, right? In terms of, we can have a look over here at the short-term bubble risk. Maybe when we start to trend into the orange to red, we can start to reprice things, rebalance our portfolios, and get a little bit more careful. But we were going heavy into the meme coin sector when the risk metrics were incredibly bearish over here and the market was bottoming out. That's where we went in heavy, and consequently we've got these absolutely enormous gains. So you need to look towards how much juice is left within the tank for this market cycle. Now, we know that the market typically tops when the Bitcoin dominance bottoms and ETH BTC pumps, right? And as it currently stands, where are we at? Well, of course, we are nowhere near that, right? I see I keep having to refresh these screens, so just give me a second, guys. As you can see, we are nowhere near that. Where are we right now? Well, as it currently stands, you have the BTC dominance topping out. If this were trading somewhere down here at about 48 at this point in the cycle, while simultaneously we have this printing the oranges and reds, that would probably be where I would start to get a little bit more cautious. But right now, there's still opportunity to get exposure to a whole lot of these meme coins because the biggest gains are going to occur when the Bitcoin dominance does that, right? When that Bitcoin dominance breaks down. So I tend to gauge what Bitcoin is doing and how much juice is left in the tank. I gauge Bitcoin dominance, I gauge ETH BTC, and then I look for the top performing layer ones, and then I invest pretty heavily into the meme coins on that particular chain. As you can see, Solana's been where it's at, right? This has been one of the most life-changing trades that I've ever made, investing heavy into Solana while it was relatively low, but more specifically, investing very heavy into the meme coin sectors, making 100x to even, as of today, one coin got a 2000x gain. I'm going to show that to you in a moment. We're almost there, right? So Solana did 7 times more volume than Ethereum in the last 24 hours, showcasing and proving that, this is really the new cycle. The new money flow looks something like this, and you can't deny it, right? Next up, we also have the Solana monthly DEX volume surpassing 70 billion for the first time ever. All metrics on Solana are very, very strong, which means that when the market comes back, and the retail here in full force, you're going to see that natural flow, right? From Solana, it's going to most likely move into large cap meme coins, with the majority being in the Solana ecosystem, because the profits will be taken from those in Solana who are witnessing that Solana is only going up 10%, while the meme coins are going up 100% per day, right? This is natural and typical, and human greed will always persist. They're going to move from Solana into these memes, and I'm going to give you these memes before that happens, right? So make sure you hear each and every single day. So I assess which is the strongest chain. Solana is the strongest chain. You can see it over here. Sol BTC, this is evident and proof in an objective means that you can look at, where you see this reaccumulation in the form of an ascending triangle, and we're looking for a huge breakout to 0.00405, right? That is a massive move still coming for Sol BTC. You could be looking at possibly an outperformance against Bitcoin of 55%. So very, very, very solid moves, which could potentially take place. The other thing I look at over here to assess, is it too risky to be entering into the meme coin sector, or is it just about right? And I look at things like this, others against BTC, because I know that if the altcoin sector is outperforming Bitcoin, then the meme coins are going to be the top beneficiaries of that outperformance. So we're almost hitting this trend line over here, and we expect when we hit that trend line, which probably simultaneously corresponds with the breakdown in the USDT dominance, we should see something like this occur. And if we're positioned in the right meme coins, we are going to make huge, huge, huge gains. So you can see it over here. I wrote this on the 3rd of March. It's got the timestamp and everything to prove it. 3rd of March at 10:46. And I gave 2 opportunities to get into meme coins back then. I said, I need to speak to somebody about the meme coin degeneracy, because we were absolutely milking it back then. We looked at 𝗲𝗲𝗕𝗏, right? You can see over here, he has the contract address for 𝗲𝗲𝗕. And what have we got over here? If we look at 𝗲𝗲𝗕 now, officially 2000x returns as of today at 203% gain. So that is for the proof is in the pudding. B9 to B was the contract address, and you have the end over here, B9 to B. This is the same contract address if you were to copy and paste that in. This was the 𝗲𝗲𝗕𝗏 trade, right? So given in March in Whale Room for the private members over there, at the time, we had much less people in Whale Room than we have right now. But these guys know this has been where the ultimate gains have been made. A lot of guys putting in huge profit. Obviously, 6 new people crying because they only came into the Whale Room later. But a lot of the diamond hands making absolute bank on these trades. And this is just one of a few, right? One of a few. We've probably done this at least 15 or 20 times. Now, in order to succeed, you're realistically going to have to place a lot of bets. You're going to have to put in a lot of bets. I've recently just dropped the next one over here that I think is going to perform very, very well. Look, it's a little bit cryptic because we have to control the flow of people into this. We don't want the market to ape into this coin too quickly. So I'm not going to share it on YouTube just yet. But for the Whale Room members, you guys know it. It's over there. I think that could be a top gainer. So we can look towards the meme coin sector. We can look towards Solana on the 2-week scale breaking out. We said if you do get a 2-week candle that looks like this, you can expect Solana won't take very long to break into price discovery and move into new all-time highs. And in fact, it's less than 8% away, which is very similar to Bitcoin, 8% before $100,000. And we expect that we're going to get rapid expansion from that point in time. So if we scroll forward and we look on the 2-week scale, just very quickly towards some of these meme coins, they're not only the ones that are going to be on Solana that's going to do well. It's just probably where the bulk of my portfolio is currently stacked. I do dabble in other things, right? Like Brett. Brett is currently actually one of my biggest meme coins within the portfolio. And I'd said to you, if you do get a weekly close or 2-week close that looks like that, expect within this next 2-week period, you're going to see rapid expansion for Brett. Remember, Brett is on base chain, which is layer 2 built on Ethereum. And Ethereum has not even bottomed. That's the craziest part, right? Or Ethereum hasn't even hasn't even turned a corner, right? So the craziest part is if you look at something like Brett or any of these ETH-based meme coins, even though it's on base, it's essentially still ETH-based because it's a layer 2 on Ethereum, which means that if Ethereum or ETH BTC starts to do something like this, do you understand how early you still are? Do you understand? You're very, very early when it comes to some of these meme coins. There is some massive, massive opportunities over here. So that is Brett. That's one of the top picks for this cycle. Another one of our big, big, big hitters within this portfolio has been Bonk, right? Getting in relatively early into Bonk and guiding you each step of the way. We've looked at rapid reaccumulation and now expansion with a strong, a very, very, very strong 2-week candle close above the white line over here. And as long as you see that, you can expect continuation. And this is very, very close to going vertical, right? So big gainers, big opportunities over there. Another one which is still, I think, in a very, very decent zone is MOG. I actually, weeks ago, sold all of my Ethereum, every single one of my Ethereum into MOG, because if Ethereum or ETH BTC does put in a bottom, start to break up as per the ETH BTC chart, you can expect that MOG is going to outperform it radically. So all my money from ETH has moved into MOG. MOG is still looking very, very strong over here. We up a lot on that trade, and we got the 2-week close above the key level, which is exactly what we're looking for. And now we're expecting rapid expansion from this point onwards, right? GigaChat, let's have a look at GigaChat. Still a very, very young chart, but finding a major bottom over here. So that's looking pretty decent. There it is. That is your SR flip. We really want to see it turn a corner over here and start to reaccumulate, pushing towards the upside. 𝗕𝗢𝗚𝗕𝗚, another one of our picks. Every single one of these meme coin picks, by the way, guys, have been dropped ahead of time in advance in the Whale Room Discord. What is the Whale Room Discord? It's the private group, right? It's the private Discord trading group. You can join the wealthiest traders in the world over there. Feel free, read all the reviews. We're currently running a Black Friday special, which will expire soon. We're also going to cap the group at a certain number of members. So the sooner you get in, the better, right? Before we end up capping the group, you are getting a massive 50% off. I did not even approve this, by the way. This should only be 40% off. But I guess since there is a technicality, you can probably take advantage of it while it's there, right? Because that's what the screen says. But it should not be 50% off. All right. 𝗕𝗢𝗚, very, very strong. Also one of our top picks, strong weekly close over here. We said 3 weekly candles that look like this next to each other typically leads to an order block, which then would be extreme continuation. So we're still looking for that continuation. Everything doing really, really well over there. Doge, very, very powerful. There it is. I have no exposure to Doge. I just think there's higher beta plays. Higher beta meaning other meme coins that are going to outperform Dogecoin completely. Remember the flow of money, right? At least for this cycle, Bitcoin into Solana, I guess Dogecoin, the leading meme that brings the retail interest. And then all of those retail market participants will start to see, well, hey, Doge is not going up as much as some of these other random memes, Dog with Hat, Popcat, Pepe, Mog, etc. Why not let's just move some of our profits that we've made on Dogecoin and Solana, and let's go into these. And then you see the Giga Pump, right? The Giga Pump coming within some of those coins. So there it is. Let's see. WIF failed to close yet above this line. That probably gives another opportunity for you to still get some exposure. I do believe that this will trade very, very quickly towards the $10 mark, right? So WIF at 360 is still a pretty decent zone. We have Pepe Coin, huge, strong gain, of course, listed on major exchanges, leading to that pump. And this is what you can expect. I'm not saying that you go into Pepe Coin now, but what Pepe Coin has done over here in the last 2 weeks is what you can expect a lot of these coins are going to do. So Jasmy, still very, very undervalued, holding up at this level over here. You're near to the range low, which is your opportune zone. You want to buy at the range low and take a little bit of profit at the range high. If you break and hold above range highs, you look for expansion. So still looking for some good gains over there. Myro's range high coming all the way at the top here. I do believe Myro will trade to new all-time highs. So there's a lot of opportunity over there, 137% move. FOG, I recommend, buy the dip whenever you can. I think this will be one of the top picks. FOG was one of the coins that we got earliest into. You guys know it. You're up over 500-600% for those of you in Whale Room. I mentioned this a couple of months ago. I said, I'm adding this to the blue chip meme coin list when nobody really knew about it. And now we're witnessing FOG really displace the market. And I think this is going to pull a bonk, Popcat, Giga, Mog-like move within the market. I think these are going to be some of the top performers. So there it is, Popcat. Popcat also holding strong over here. You want to see this continue to remain above $1.38. And I think this is also going a whole lot higher, right? So very, very strong over there. Mumu the bull, also strong 2-week candle close, despite the wick that's occurred at the top over there. You know, anything that's above this white line, which ends in 7404, is strong, right? 7404 with a couple of zeros before that. So I'm not going to read out the whole number. Okay, here's your little order block that's forming. Remember, we spoke about it. 3 candle closes like that next to each other, above a key level on turbo. We're also super long on turbo. And eventually, sometime soon, you're going to look for major expansion over there. Ponky also breaking to new highs, one of our biggest meme coin positions in whale room, broken closed above this key level, and now we're looking for trend continuation. So all of these coins looking really, really strong. We can look to some of the other sectors. As I showed you, I do have some of the more traditional positions on the table. One of our biggest picks has been Mantra. Look at that. Absolute banger on Mantra. Huge trade. Am I taking profit? No, I'm not. I'm going to continue to hold this. I've seen the story before. What tends to happen, especially at this point in the market cycle, is despite a big move like this, you know, you might do something like this. Dips become shallow and you get rapid expansion. And I don't think it's worth playing that game of trying to, take profit here to maybe enter over here, maybe over here, and then price just does this and rips and misses your order, right? So very, very, very good. One of our top picks within this cycle, real world asset, Mantra. We identified this as a key coin to look at for a couple of reasons, right? And this is something you can do at home. Now, this is an exception when it's a mined coin, meaning that there's proof of work involved, because remember, through the proof of work, new coins will come into circulation. They're doing work to receive the coins. But when coins come into circulation for free, that's the VC model, right? That's where we go back over here. That's the VC model, which a lot of the market has walked away from, the old money flow. So one of the ways we're able to identify that Mantra was going to be such a top pick was in whale room. We spoke about this a whole lot. What we do is we look at what is the, if we look over here, we look at what is the fully diluted valuation. We also have a look at the circulating supply and the total supply. And you could see that a lot of the coins were already in circulation. If you have a project where 80-90% of the coins are not yet in circulation compared to the total supply, then you know that that's going to bleed money, right? Those coins, the other 90%, are incrementally going to be released into the market, and early investors are going to just slowly start to dump that. This is why the meme coin sector is so lucrative. So if we do go to something like MOG as an example, let's go to MOG over here and we can click on that. What you can notice over here is if you look at the total supply, you have 390 billion or whatever that number is, 390 gazillion, it doesn't matter. The point is that the circulating supply matches the total supply. And this is a key factor. That's something that you want to have a look at for, trend continuation, because it means all the tokens are already released and all the tokens are already in the market. And if a person actually wanted to sell it when there were dips or when the market got scary, when Bitcoin dropped to 49K, they would have already exited those positions, which increases the likeliness that it's going to be strong hands, right? Strong hands are going to continue to dominate those positions. So we have a lot of different coins over here. Now, again, going back to these charts, a lot of your biggest gainers are also going to be found within the low caps. Because if you do look at something like 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗕𝗕, I mean, this is literally where we got into it. So if we go back to the timestamp over here in whale room, that was the 3rd of the 3rd at 10:46, right? So the 3rd of the 3rd at 10:46. And if we run a vertical line from the 3rd of the 3rd, it was on this candle over here. And if I just give you some perspective, getting in early is very, very important, right? So you are occasionally going to have to put in some proper capital, which would have been down there. And you can see, there was a lot of pain in this trade for a while. We were still up though. We never experienced drawdown in whale room for this trade. We're up 4x, even at the worst point in time. But you have to endure this. And this is why it's important. Get your positions in early. And sometimes you are going to have to look to some of these pump.fun coins, right? So there's still a lot of opportunity out there. Bitcoin, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, Inu is still one of them. It's one of the trades that we got into relatively early on this yellow trend line over here. And I think that the majority of the coins that we've dropped in whale room are going to pull a 𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕-like move where you're going to see rapid expansion, the order block over here, and you suddenly just going to see these things going completely vertical. So please do pay attention for that. Follow the show each and every single day. I won't drop too many of the low caps anymore, only occasionally, because it's becoming a very diluted market, right? This is why you'll see me talk more about the larger caps, because I know and I understand that you as the audience won't have as much of an edge as what we had back in March when we're doing these 1,000 to 2,000x gains. So yeah, there's always opportunity, guys. There's always opportunity. If you do want to jump in, I guess take advantage of the additional 10% that they gave. It's only meant to be 40%. Take the 50% offer, jump into Whale Room. There's a wealth of knowledge there. I'm not the only trader. And yeah, that's it from me, folks. Let's end it over there. Meme coins are where it's at. I'll catch you all on the next one. Sign up, join into the Banter Bags giveaway, as well as the Win a Bitcoin competition by signing up using the links below. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day and cheers for now.